Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. How are you? It is Julia from the Paper and Ink Boutique, and I'm here for Monday Night Live. It's been a couple of weeks, so I've missed doing this, but I'm back now. I'm back, and I've got a couple of things I want to share with you. I'm going to talk about the universal plate system. I'm going to do a technique on my gel plate. I may have gone slightly overboard with this one, but I've got a lot to share with you. So we are just going to jump right in. Hi. Hi, Julie. How are you? Okay, I'm going to flip over to my overhead camera. So let me do that. Give me one moment. And there we go. Overhead camera is on. Wonderful. Okay, so here we are. Hello, welcome. Yes. So if you saw my announcement about tonight's Monday night, you would have seen a photo or you would have seen a picture of this. Now, maybe you're looking at it, you're like, wow, that doesn't look like Julia. No, this was definitely out of my comfort zone. Using a die cut like this, definitely out of my comfort zone, but it was kind of based on a class I did with Spellbinders not that long ago. So I did the background technique. That is the focus, really, is the tag. This is the focus for tonight. But this is the one I took a picture of. This is the one I shared with you. Now, this one is a little bit more me. So I'm going to share this one. Again, we're looking at some same techniques, same product, but a little bit more me. Just a little bit. But I am going to be talking about some new products we've got in the store, some different techniques. So yeah, this one has quite a bit of dimension on it. Yeah, this one, just the butterflies really. But yeah. Okay, so first of all, let's get started. I'm going to set these aside for just a few minutes. The first thing I want to talk about is this, and I did introduce it last week when it came in new, and a lot of people are asking about it, and I said, tune in for Monday Night Live because I'm going to talk about it a bit more. So this is the Spellbinders Universal Plate System. This is the Universal Plate System. There we go. Okay. Okay, perfect. Here we are. The Universal Plate System. What is it? Why am I excited about it? Well, I'm going to tell you. So when you get it, it's in a box like this. This is from Spellbinders. This is technology that they have been working on for quite some time. Hi, Brenda. So I was so happy that they sent me one of these. We did an educational night on it last week. And so I'm here to tell you all about it. So I just took it out of the box. You can see on the front that it has several plates in it. I'm just going to set that aside. So when you open up your box, this is what you get. Not mine are dirty. Of course, mine are dirty. Now, there's also a booklet that comes in with it. And I wasn't smart enough to get the booklet with me. Here we go. So when you open up your box, you get the 7 plates and you get the Spellbinders June book, and it does talk about these as well. Okay. So what do you get in here and what makes it different? Well, this is your platform. So you can see we've got platform A and platform B. Why is that important? Well, if you put these two together, A and B, this is what a standard size plate is. This is what the Spellbinders plate is. The thickness of this one and the thickness of this one are now the same. So what they have done is they've taken that base plate and they split it. This is important because now it gives you the opportunity to use the same plating systems on different machines. So I have used this plate system on both my Big Shot, my manual crank Big Shot, and on my Spellbinders Platinum 6. Both work really good. So you get platform A, platform B, and of course on the platforms, it's giving you sandwich suggestions. Now, if you're using this with other items, you may have to make a slight change to your plating. But they give you so many. Oops, just a second here. I put aside my other plate so I wouldn't lose it. Here we are. You get 2 cutting plates, 2 clear cutting plates. These are cutting plate C. This is no different. This is like your regular cutting plate. No changes have been made to this. The changes have just been made to the base. You also get your D plate, which is an adapter plate, not a cutting plate. You get an embossing pad. So this is one of those rubber embossing pads. And you get a shim. This is slightly thicker than a piece of paper, and this is a shim. Now, another thing I want to point out, let me bring in my original Spellbinders Platinum. You can see this is the original platform, Spellbinders here. The new one, you can see how much longer it is. Isn't that amazing? So what this is good for is the bigger embossing folders, and also Pink Fresh Studios. You know how they have those one dies that fits the coordinating stamp and the coordinating hot foil plate? Those are longer, and they're actually too long for these plates. They're a little bit too long. So they've made them this size so that they can accommodate slimline dies, the larger embossing folders, the Spellbinders dies. So that is why this is great. Okay, so I'm going to put away that so I don't get messed up. Now, Spellbinders has also provided, I'm going to bring this in. This is a compatibility guide for embossing folders by brand. So if you see here, they've listed Spellbinders embossing folders, FSJ, which I'm not sure who that is, Sizzix, so Sizzix 3D, Sizzix 2D, and Tim Holtz 3D, Stampin' Up, Creative Expressions, Altenew, and Nellie's Choice. So that means they have tested all of these companies and their embossing folders. They've given you the recommended sandwich and then have given you a photo of the sandwiches down here. Now, me being the skeptic, the skeptic that I am, I love the Tim Holtz embossing folders. So this is a Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder. Now, this is a Spellbinders 3D embossing folder. This is the Spellbinders. This is the Tim Holtz. You can see there is a big difference. There is a huge, huge difference in those 3D embossing folders. So that's why there had to be special plates made that you could use these in your Platinum or this in your Big Shot and use the same plating system. So I was a bit skeptical. So while we were doing our educational class with Spellbinders, I got out my Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder. I'm like, there's absolutely no way. No way. I don't believe you. So I looked it up on the guide. It says it's compatible with the Platinum. So Tim Holtz 3D, I need to use the number 3 sandwich. So you go down here, 1, 2, 3. What do I need? I need the A platform base. I need the embossing folder and paper. So let me just grab my piece of paper that I got. I'm going to use that. And I need the C cutting plate. So I need one of these. So let me just show you how this works in both machines. I'm actually going to do it in both machines. First of all, let me get out my really old Big Shot. My Big Shot is like, ooh, forever old. Don't worry, we're going to get on to the crafting. Just let me show you this because I'm very excited about it. Okay, so there's my A platform base. Here's my embossing folder. So how I'm going to demo that is I'm going to take an ink and I am actually going to ink up. What side should I ink up? I think I'm going to ink up this side. I'm going to ink up this side of my embossing folder. I'm using Chip Sapphire. I'm just running my ink pad over my embossing folder. Don't worry, because this ink is water-based and it will wipe right off. There we go. Let me get my piece of paper, which is a tag, by the way. Going to put it on there. I'm going to use my C cutting plate. And I'm going to put it through my Big Shot. Look how easy that is. So easy. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So there we go. I have embossed that. I had ink. The reason why I used a dark blue ink is so you could see it. So there's the other side. This actually has something on it already. There you go. Cool, right? Oh my gosh, so cool. So now maybe you have a platinum and you're like, well, I have a platinum. Is it going to work in my platinum? Yes, it is. The exact same plating in your platinum. So let's get rid of the Big Shot. Let's bring in the platinum. What folder? You mean this one? That one is I want to say it's called Swiss cheese. Shoot. I looked up everything but that. Caroline, look at me. You're catching me. I want to say it's called Swiss cheese. It's not a Tim Holtz. It is just a Sizzix. It's not a Tim Holtz one. Maybe it's a Tim Holtz one. Oh my gosh. I just grabbed it out last minute. Okay, so I'm inking this up just like I did before. Oh, thank you, Heather. Yes, Heather's here. She is saying it's called Swiss cheese. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to put my paper in again, which is a tag. I'm going to put down my A plate, my embossing folder with the paper in there, and I'm going to put it in my platinum. First of all, look how easy that is to put through. It is just amazingly easy. Like, and I have always struggled with the 3D embossing folders. I've always felt like I'm going to break my machine, I'm going to break something. So same plating, both. And then there we go there. Absolutely amazing. I love it. Okay, so that is my spiel on the universal plating system. Now I am going to be using it again because I am going to be embossing the back of my tag. I'm just going to wipe off that embossing folder. Okay, perfect. So let's get going on our tag. I'll be using the universal plating system again in just a moment, but I need to prep a tag first. And by the way, if you end up purchasing the machine, we do have the compatibility guide. We can send it to you because it is really handy. It is really handy to have for those embossing folders. So you can always ask us for it, and we can email it to you. All right, let me just set these plates off to the side for a moment. Okay, so let's get started. So I am going to, first of all, we're going to do the background. It's the same technique for both tags. And I am going to be using, a Spellbinders embossing folder. This is one of their new kind of embossing folders. Why these are special? This is called Leafy. This is in stock. I brought it in last week, so I know it's available. It's called Leafy. This is a 3D embossing folder from Spellbinders, and the size of it is really, really important. So if I go back to the Tim Holtz one, or the Sizzix one, look at the difference. Oh, that's hard to see. There we go. So you can see the difference in the embossing folder. Look how tiny this is, and look how big this one is. So these are really great because you can do slimline, 5x7, A2, all the different sizes with this one. So we're going to do the same technique. I've got my tag here. I am using one of the Dina Wakley number 10 tags. So these are pretty big. There you go. I'm going to be using that. And then I'm going to be using Evergreen Bow Distress Ink to ink up my embossing folder. I love this technique. Now, if you know anything about embossing folders, one is going to emboss, one is going to deboss. I am going to ink up the flat side. So when you run your hand across it, you're not feeling any bumps. On this side, I'm actually going to feel that pattern. I don't want to ink that side. You can ink that side up if you want, but I want to ink up the flat side. So I'm going to take my ink pad, just going to run it over that entire, even though I know I'm not going to be using all of that, I'm going to ink it up really well. I am going to take my tag. I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to close that up. I'm going to grab my platinum machine. Now, this one is a little different, even though it is a 3D embossing folder. Even though it is a 3D embossing folder, we are looking for this Spellbinders Current Design 3D, and we're looking at the number 2 plate. So what is that? We need the D adapter plate, and we need the A plate. So the A plate, the D adapter plate, and we're going to put it through our machine. Okay, let's put that to the side. Take off our D adapter plate. Take away our A adapter plate, and then open up our embossing folder. And there we go. That is that nice inked embossed background. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, I just remembered I forgot to do a step, but it's okay. So that is how I did this background, this one, different color. But I'm also going to show you how to do this background. See the stamping? Let me show you that. So what I did is I took this stamp from Paper Artsy, the HP1304 Easy. I think this one might still be out of stock, but it is on order and it should be here tomorrow. So I'm just going to take that stamp. I'm going to take it and I'm going to ink just all over the background of my tag, like so. Ooh, how fast was that? I am all about doing fast backgrounds. Love, love fast backgrounds. So I'm going to dry this ink really quick. Perfect. Now we're going to repeat this with the same color, and I'm going to show you the difference. Okay, let's bring this back in. Let's grab our embossing folder. Remember, we're going to ink it up. We're inking it up on the smooth side. So you can see there, it's all inked. I am going to put my tag with my stamp side down. I want that side inked. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to grab my A and my D adapter plates, put that in there. Now, a quick tip, if you're using embossing folders with the machine, I always put the open end of the embossing folder in the machine first. I never put the hinge side. It always seems to go in the machine easier using the open side of the embossing folder and not the hinge side. Okay, platinum, I think we're done for tonight. Boop. Get rid of those plates and open that up. And there you go. Now you can see that tag. You can see the stamping I did on it. There you go. Very nice. I'm just going to dry both of these. There we go. So how many of you out there who have embossing folders, have you ever tried inking them? Have you tried inking them before you put them through your machines to emboss them? It's one of my favorites. Okay, so now I'm going to take the same ink and I'm just going to go around the edges. So if you've got missing areas like that, you can fill it in. So I'm just going to go around my edges because I like to darken the edges. Yes, inking your embossing folders is a really cool technique. And how fast does that make a background? It's so fast. And you don't have to use the same color. If you want to do a rainbow of colors, just take them and just swipe each color across your embossing folder and you can get a nice rainbow. Maybe you want to just do an ombre look, do your darkest color, your medium color, and your lightest color across your embossing folder, and then you get a nice ombre look. So it doesn't have to just be one color of ink. You can do many colors of ink. Okay, so this is our unstamped tag background. I just like adding the stamping to that one. It just looks so cool. Okay, and I'm using the same color of ink because I don't want anything too contrasting. I just want to darken up those edges. And I still want it to blend with the center of my tag, the focal point of my tag. All right, there we go. So we're done with that. Let's give these a dry. Great. Okay, so the technique on tag, that was basically your technique on tag. But we're not done decorating. I'm going to show you how I decorated this. Let me just wipe up that ink. Fabulous. So there we go. There's our two tag backgrounds there. One unstamped and one with a bit of stamping in the background there. So you can do either or depending on the look that you like. There you go. Isn't that cool? I just love those. I love those. And such a quick background. So let me bring these in for you right now. So the next thing I did is I did my flowers. What flowers are these? Well, let me tell you. They are both from Spellbinders. Look at me. I'm just all about Spellbinders today. Okay, so one of them is the Be Bold Blooms. Oops, don't hold it upside down. The Be Bold Blooms. This has been such an insanely popular die set with Spellbinders. They will bring these in. I think they usually bring in about 1,500 at a time, and they sell out in minutes. So I managed to get, I think the last time they had them in, I got 18. We still have these in stock. These are super popular. They are being shown everywhere. Like I see them all across social media all the time. Tons of different people are using it. Jennifer McGuire's using it. I mean, it's just such a popular set. So some of my flowers are from Be Bold Blooms, which we have in stock. And they're also from this set here, which is also a new one. This one is the Wreath Builder. This one is called Wreath Builder. And this is also from Spellbinders. And this one we also have in stock as well. Now, I did not use this die. I was going to, but I didn't. But this one has this cute little bird and the word happy birthday. No, it doesn't. It's just the bird. It threw me off there. No, this one is just the bird. Everything else that they're showing, these down here are actually from this set here. I did not spritz the tag, Julie. No, usually when I'm using an ink, I don't spritz it because what it's going to do is it's going to make my ink run. So I didn't. Yeah, if I'm embossing with a 3D embossing folder and I'm not putting any ink on it, then I will spritz it. But I have noticed, and this is something I forgot, so thank you for bringing it up. When Spellbinders was doing their class with the retailers last week, because of the plating system being a little bit different, we tried it with spritzing and not spritzing, and I actually didn't get any tearing of my paper not spritzing it. So again, could be the new plating system, but yeah, when I'm inking, I normally don't because I don't want my inks to run and get too watered down. You can if that's the look you're going for. I'm not saying you can't. So my flowers, Be Bold Blooms, and this, which I've already forgotten the name of it, Wreath Builder, both from Spellbinders, and that's what I use. How did I create them? Well, you can do several different ways, but I use my gel press. Yeah, I did. So those blooms that you see on there, I actually use some gel press backgrounds to create my blooms. So I actually, earlier this afternoon, I created a whole bunch. So I've actually got some left over. And I've got all my greenery and stuff, but all of those were done with my gel plate. I'm just going to give you just a quick. Oh, let me bring these in. This is my leftovers from the gel plating I did to create my florals and my greenery. Yeah, so that's what I use there. But I am just going to give you just a quick. Let me just set these aside so I don't get them dirty. Just going to share with you how I created them and how quick and easy they are. So what I did, let me grab up a gel plate. This one's my 8x10. You know I have all the gel plates, but this one is my 8x10. Boop. My gel plate has had a life, let me tell you. It is, but still works still works really well. Okay, so I've got some paper here. This is the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. Now, with my gel plate, you know what? I actually just thought of something. I'm actually not going to do that. I'm actually going to use, I'm going to go back over here. I've got 80 pound. I'm going to use the 80 pound mostly because this die cuts a lot better. And that's what I used here. I did use the 80 pound smooth cardstock, the hammer mill is what I used here. So I am going to use that on here. Just took me a minute to remember what I was doing. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to cover that up because I want to continue on the look of my backgrounds. I want to continue that look on. So I'm going to go back to using my stamp set from Paper Artsy HP 13045, and I'm going to add the same kind of stamping to the background. So, and you can see I'm not doing it too crazy, but I am trying to keep it horizontal and vertical. Now I'm going to be die cutting these out, so there's going to be some areas that have stamping and some that don't. So there's one. I'm going to go back in. Let's do an, oh, that was not right. But when we start die cutting, you're not even going to see that. Perfect. Good enough. I just added some stamping to 2 8.5 by 11, 100 pound hammer mill background. There we go. I'm going to set those aside till I'm ready on my gel plate. There we go. So I am going to take some paint. Now, because of my stamping, if I use translucent paint, you're going to be able to see more of the stamping. If I use opaque, you're not going to see as much. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to try my translucent. I'm going to do translucent on one side and translucent. I'm going to put opaque on this side. Okay, let me grab my I'm going to try and keep these separate. It's actually on the back of that one. I'm going to roll that off. I'm going to come over and do my opaque side. Just going to roll that off. And I'm going to take my piece of paper, flip that stamp side down, and press that all over. We want to make sure it's getting as much contact with all of that paper as possible. Okay, so if I peel that up, so you can see what I mean. The translucent paints, you can still see the stamping, and the opaque paints, you can still see it, it's there, but it's not nearly as visible as that side, okay? So just a hint when using translucent and opaque paints on your gel plate. Okay, so that one's done. So that is going to be like florals. I'm going to use this. I'm going to die cut it out. It's going to make some beautiful florals. Now, on my next roll, I'm going to do blues and greens because I want some blue flowers, but I also need green for, I need greens for my, my greenery. Now this one I rolled off on the back, but that's paint, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to use the back of this. I'm going to use the back of this to roll this off. Now again, I'm using a combination. This is semi-opaque and opaque. And then both of these are opaque. So if you've got opaque and you want things to show through, I'm going to give you a little hint. I'm going to put my blues on one side. There you go. I'm going to put my greens on the other. Greens on the other. There we go. I'm going to take my roller. Let's roll this out. Okay. So I know these are very opaque. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to take a piece of, this is just printer paper. I'm going to scrunch it up. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. I'm going to open it up. Scrunch, open, and then I'm going to kind of hold it in my hand. So I've got some nice texture going there. And now I'm going to press it into that paint. And this is going to remove some of that paint so that that stamping will show through. Okay, there we go. And now I am going to take this, I'm going to lay it down. And there we go. So now I've got some great greens, some great blues. This is going to make some really fabulous flowers and florals. Ah, I love it. All right, so flowers and florals and greenery. There you go. Really easy to do fast and quick backgrounds. Now this is one I did yesterday when I was making these, but I'm just going to press it on because there's still some paint on there. So I want to lift that paint off. Ooh, I like that. Fantastic. Okay, so very quick sharing how you can do a really quick background with stamping and your gel press. Now, I'm not going to bore you by die cutting all those flowers because I literally watched 2 episodes of Ozark this afternoon die cutting flowers for tonight, and I don't want to bore you with that. So all I did was I took my Be Bold Blooms, my Builder Wreath from Spellbinders, and I just die cut out as much as I could out of my gel plate background. And that is what you see here. I'm just going to bring them in. So these are all of those that I die cut out of gel plate backgrounds that I did earlier. Made the backgrounds yesterday, die cut them out today. So look at all of those. I just kept cutting, just kept die cutting and die cutting and die cutting. So this is what I had left of those ones. So these I'm going to keep and they will be good for other projects. So I'm going to keep those. Those will be great for die cutting for later on. Okay, let me bring my tags back in, my original ones. So here's this one. There you go. And then here's this one. So Be Bold Blooms and the Wreath Builder all made the florals on there. Now, the butterfly is a butterfly from, I believe it is a scrap cozy from Paper Artsy. It's an older one, so I didn't bring it out. But I do want to point out that I did it. I stamped these. Look how dirty my hands are. I love it. I stamped these on the Soft Touch cardstock from Elizabeth Craft Designs. I have to say I am sort of in love with this cardstock because it feels, once you start working with it and manipulating it a little bit, it ends up feeling a little bit like leather. It has a very interesting feel to it. So that is what this is cut out of. And my images, so that's where the butterflies are, is a butterfly stamp from Paper Artsy that I stamped on the soft touch cardstock. I don't know why I have this universal plating system still up here. I could take that off. Okay, there we go. Here we go. So I'm going to set that one aside. And then this one that I made, the exact same stamp set on the soft touch cardstock from Elizabeth Craft Designs. The sentiment is from this one, which is Tracy Scott, ETS05. And this is 05. So this is one of her very, very first ones. We still have this one in the store because I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love it so much. But that is where that sentiment came from. Your rings already exist, so fly. So that's where that one came from. And then the faces. So the face on this one, that one came from Lynn Perella, and that is LPC048, and we do still have that one in stock. So you can see I did cover up the bird's nest. I used it to put my butterfly on there. There we go. So if you're wondering about composition, when I use a tag, I try and compose like a really open S. That's what I try to do. That looks appealing to me. Other people do different types of composition on their tags. But with me, especially if I point it out to people, it's like, yeah, I start here and I kind of curve up and then I kind of end over there. So that's kind of how my composition works. So there is that one that I did earlier today. And then here are our 2 tags. So I'm probably not going to use this one. I'm going to set that aside. I'll do that one later. Now, this face that I cut out for this other tag is also a Lynn Perella, and that's LPC056, that one there. And I stamped that on That feels like the 100-pound cardstock is what that feels like. Super smooth cardstock, so it stamps really well. There you go. So I stamped that. So this is going to go on my card tag. Sorry, it's going to go on my tag, and I am going to use. You can use 3D foam, but I tend not to waste 3D foam on these tags. I tend to use 3D foam on cards and scrapbooking pages, but you do what you want to do. So I actually have some chipboard. So I want to pop this up. So I'm going to cut my chipboard. I'm going to use my art glitter glue. Of course, my art glitter works perfectly this afternoon when I'm not on camera. As soon as I get on camera, it all of a sudden gets shy and doesn't want to come out of the bottle. Well, that's typical. There we go. So I always save a piece of cardboard around. I find it really handy if you want to build up, if you want to just build up some depth. I especially use this in my art journal. There we go. And here we go. So now that I've got that built up, I'm not going to stick it down yet, but I am going to find a place on my tag where I want to put it. There we go. Oh, I like that. That's fun. We're going to use a couple of butterflies. Now, if you're wondering why I left my people and my butterflies black and white, did I say Johnny Depp? What is that? That's funny. Julie, you're funny. I really wanted my flowers to be the centerpiece of the color. So I left these black and white because I wanted the florals to be kind of the centerpiece. I wanted those to be the things that pop. So I'm going to start with my greenery. Am I going to start with my greenery? No, I'm going to start with flowers. So don't be afraid to cut your flowers in half, because if I go to stick that under her, I'm going to lose half of it. Why would I lose half of it? So I'm actually going to cut that flower in half. I know some people are like, oh, but you did so much work on it. Well, I don't want to hide half of it. So I'm actually going to take it, cut it in half. I'm going to just start building this up. Now, before I glue this down, I need to add a little bit of color to my sentiment. So let me do that first. Color to my sentiment. So I'm going to grab my Altenew. Let's see, what color should I do? Let's do yellow. Just going to take my spritzer and I'm just going to, there we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to pick up that color. Just going to go around the outside, not being too careful about it, because I really just want to add a little bit of color to have it stand out from that background. There you go. I could ink this if I want, but I'm really loving these watercolors, so I'm going to use those. I'll put that away right now. Give this a quick dry. There we go. Now I am going to stick this sentiment down. There we go. That's going to go there. Just going to put that on there so it holds it. And then let's start working on our florals. My florals over here. There we go. So I'm going half as well. A little bit of glue. Let's stick that in there. This is my favorite part. I love the composition part. I'm not going to glue this down yet. I want to wait until I start building up more, and then I'll glue it down, because in some instances I might need to lift the head up to stick stuff under. So I'm just going to take some of my greenery pieces, going to stick them under there. Perfect. Loving it. Let's see, where else should we go now? We need to come down. Butterflies are going to be sort of here-ish. I haven't decided if I'm going to color the butterflies yet. That's why they are not a color. I haven't decided. Okay. Now this flower, that one was actually left over from this tag. This kind of half flower. This half one was actually left over from one of those earlier this afternoon. So that is where that one came from. Oops. Let me just show you this. That is die cut out of a gel press background. Isn't that cool? I just love it. Love, love, love. I love, love, love how it looks. Just going to stick that in there. These are part of that wreath builder die. So it's got two pieces. I don't know if I have the other piece left. No, I don't. I use those all up. But it's got two different pieces. So that is how you build your wreath. Is these are fairly flexible, so you can turn them and bend them and build a wreath. So that's how those came to be. That's the wreath builder die. Going to take this. Going to stick that under there. There we go. Now this one is actually supposed to be a flower, but because I die cut it out with the die, it does give you these that you can build. They almost look like little buds. So I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to pop it on that end. So it actually turns it into more of a flower bud than looks like a green leaf. So fabulous. Oops. Oh my gosh, this is really coming together, and it's actually coming together quite quickly. Oh, I'm not going to do that yet because she's not glued down. Okay, so let me come down here. I'm going to add, I have another one of these. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue down there. And that is actually going to go under the head and kind of snake down. So you can see how I'm building that S on there. Going to put that there. I just love, and don't get me wrong, these dies, they're a little bit fiddly than what I'm used to. I don't necessarily like fiddly dies like this, but I have to tell you, these were kind of fun. They were a little bit of fun. Got glue on there. There we go. Okay, I got tons of greenery left, so let's start adding more greenery around the head here. There we go. And let's add a bit more. Oh, thanks, Mari. Oh, I don't know why I'm not using my tweezers. I should be using my tweezers. I don't know why I'm not using them. They're right here in front of my face. There we go. Oops. Let's put you back in place. Wonderful. And let's add this greenery. I'm going to add it. It's actually a straight piece. I'm actually going to add it right in here along the bottom of that sentiment. And then we've got some bigger leaves. Let's stick those in there. And let's stick in another flower. Okay, so I like how this is coming along. I am going to glue this down now. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to glue my face down. There we go. I'm just going to set that on top of there to hold it there for a minute. And then I'm actually going to start gluing down my butterflies. So that butterfly, he's going to sit right there. And then this little butterfly is going to, oh, let me see. I feel like I need to add more flowers down here at the bottom. Just feels necessary. And I have all these flowers that I spent hours making. I might as well use them. Okay, so I'm going to stick that in there. And what else do we have? So many cool things. I'm going to stick that at the end. And then my butterfly is going to go here. There we go. Ooh, okay, just wait. Let me zoom out. Oh, here, I'll just hold it up here. So there's my finished tag. I think that turned out rather well. Oops, there we go. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So there's the entire tag. Oh, I love it. So here's the one I did earlier. Very similar, but very different. You can see how quickly those came together. Like, it's not even 7 o'clock, and I probably spent the first 15 minutes talking about the universal plate system. Now, in all honesty, I did make all of these florals. I did do that earlier this afternoon. That was like 2 hours, but it was very relaxing when I did it. So if I was to do it again with the Be Bold blooms, is I would definitely sit down and I would make a whole bunch, and I would just keep them all in like a little container. That way, if I wanted to sit down and do something like this, all of that work is done. Okay, there you go. So remember the background. The background was the focal point of tonight, embossing on your tag. And remember, we took the embossing folder. We inked up the flat side, put our tag in, and then put it through our die cut machine. And then that gave you that beautiful, beautiful background. Isn't that gorgeous? So if you have embossing folders and you haven't used them in a while, go grab them. Go grab some inks, do some backgrounds, just get some backgrounds made. That's always so much fun. There you go. Fast, quick, lovely. And you can see why I use the black and white images. The flowers are what gives you that pop of color. Oh my goodness. Well, there you are, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight. It's always so much fun hanging out with you. I'm just going to switch my cameras and say goodbye. Here we go, front camera. Hello. Yes, there I am. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed tonight. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put it in the comments field. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, like I said, get out your embossing folders, ink them up, start putting them through your machines, because let me tell you, your embossing folders look completely different when you use this technique. And I'm sure you're going to find some that you really, really like. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care. Bye.